everyone, Lily here with Tucson Foothills Properties. If you're a landlord, one of the most important tools you have is a strong lease agreement. A poorly written lease can lead to legal issues, tenant confusion, and lost income. In this video, let's walk through 5 key lease clauses that every landlord should include to protect their property and avoid future headaches. Clause number 1 is with regard to rent details and payment terms. This one might seem obvious, but it's not just about starting the rent amount. You need to clearly lay out all the details around how and when rent is paid. You will need to include the monthly rent amount, the due date, late fees and when they apply, accepted payment methods, and the legal consequences of non-payment. More clarity helps avoid excuses and makes it easier to enforce the lease if rent becomes an issue. Clause number 2 is the maintenance responsibility. One of the most common disputes between landlords and tenants comes from unclear expectations around maintenance. You will need to make it clear who's responsible for routine upkeep like lawn care or changing light bulbs, reporting repairs or damage caused by the tenant or their guests, and what's considered normal wear and tear. Be as specific as possible. If you want the tenant to handle minor repairs or maintain the yard, put it in writing. By setting expectations clearly in your lease, you reduce misunderstandings and protect your rental income. At Tucson Foothills Properties, we help landlords create strong, legally compliant lease agreements for your property. If you're unsure whether your lease includes the right protections, we'd be happy to talk to you and review. Clause number 3 relates to rules around occupancy and subletting. You want to make sure the people living in your property are the same people that applied in the first place. You need to include rules about who's allowed to occupy, whether or not subletting is permitted, what counts as unauthorized occupants or guests, and the process for requesting approval for subletting. This clause protects you from unvetted individuals moving in and helps you maintain control over who's living in the property. Clause number 4 is about entry and access. As a landlord, you may occasionally need access to the property for repairs, inspections, or emergencies. Tenants also have a right to privacy, and legal notice to enter must be given. In Arizona, you must give 48 hours notice to the tenant in order to access the property. Your lease should specify how much notice is given before entering, acceptable reasons for entry, and how emergency situations are handled. Clearly defining this upfront shows professionalism and keeps you compliant with privacy laws. The last clause we want to cover is for early termination and lease breaks. Tenants breaking a lease early is one of the costliest situations landlords face. A clear early termination clause gives you options and protects your bottom line. You can include an early termination fee, conditions under which a lease break is allowed, whether the tenant is responsible for remarketing fees, and required notice periods. Having this clause in place makes the process smoother and gives you leverage if a tenant leaves unexpectedly. So, a strong lease isn't just about collecting rent. It's about protecting your property, income, and time. These 5 clauses form a good foundation for a reliable lease agreement. Thank you for watching, and feel free to like and subscribe for more landlord tips.